Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, we got some DC updates for you, boys and girls, some plans for the layouts of the future of the DC universe out there, and as well as some updates as to what's going on with CCXP down in Brazil and whether or not DC actually will end up being present. And boys and girls, there's a lot of us out there that we're getting hopeful for hoping to see a Superman trailer at CCXP down there in Brazil or in the early December time frame out there. Well, it looks like that might not happen. And as usual, boys and girls, sometimes the rumor mill turns out to be true, sometimes it's all just speculation, and it looks like this one might not actually end up happening. And the real question is, where would you end up releasing the Superman trailer out there that would make as big a smash hit as it would at CCXP? Is it just not done yet? We don't really know, ladies and gentlemen, but we're going to give you all of the updates and give you a little bit of my personal speculation. And of course, my good friend over here, Sil Abdul, over here on X, aka Twitter, has got a little basis of what he knows going forward as far as what's actually going to determine the future of the DCU and James Gunn's and Peter Safran's heading of all of that. So we're going to check out this article over here from cosmicbook.news. Also go over all the updates in the timeline that our dear sweet friend Sil has for us. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below. Are you disappointed in these updates? Are you excited about some of these updates? Would you rather just wait and see? Does it make you feel better that they're kind of being cautiously optimistic and or cautious about things and like maybe not wanting to let something out until it's actually finished? Or do you simply like, you know what, we're just gonna have to wait and see on this whole thing? Or are you disappointed by the fact that we're not getting a trailer? Let us know what you think about all that in the comment section down below. And if you'd like to support the channel, please check out the links in the description as well. So from cosmicbook.news and our dear sweet friend Matt McGloin, no CCXP for James Gunn. What does it mean for the Superman trailer? And it's one of those situations where we can't imagine they would release it without having those two on hand, right? I don't know. It's unfortunately learned that both James Gunn and Peter Safran won't be at the upcoming CCXP in Brazil in December, which sounds like it also means the highly anticipated Superman trailer won't be released at the convention. It also might mean that the DCU will skip out on the CCXP entirely, which honestly I think would be a really bad idea. They do still have Creature Commandos coming out in December, and it's one of those situations you could at least be there to promote some of that kind of stuff. Plus you've got the War of Roarham with Warner Brothers and all that, but at the same time, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens. While not confirmed, it was thought that CCXP, with its hundreds of thousands of attendees and massive coverage around the world, would be the perfect opportunity for Gunn to debut and showcase the DCU and the Superman trailer going along with the new Man of Steel, David Corn's suite, and the additional cast, which includes Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane and Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. After all, Gunn recently attended the New York Comic-Con in October for the Creature Commandos animated series and brought the cast with him along with a new trailer. It also seems that the Superman trailer is ready and locked and loaded to be released. I mean, last we heard that I think it's like James Gunn was actually still working on it out there here as well. So there you go, locked and loaded. So apparently he's really got it ready to go. So why aren't you supporting it? Maybe he just can't make it. Who knows? At the exact same time, this could just be a marketing scam from James Gunn. You know, I mean, what's the old saying of our Doctor Who fans? The doctor lies, right? Maybe James Gunn is not being completely honest about this because he's not wanting to spoil the surprise of making a big flash reveal at CCXP. That's just me being cautiously optimistic, but it is also a legitimate possibility. I don't know. We'll see what happens. However, when asked about the CCXP by a fan on Threads, Gunn said he is too busy to attend. The guy says, "Mr. Gunn, will you come to CCXP in Brazil?" He says, "Sadly, no. I tried to work it out because of a million schedule conflicts. I won't be able to make it to CCXP this year. One of my favorite places in the world with some of my favorite people." And like I said, this is very disappointing for the fact that we were hoping to get a big splash for the trailer down there, and now maybe not. So when asked, with James Gunn not attending, some fans thought it might meant the DCU co-head would show up and showcase the DCU, much how Marvel's Kevin Feige has done for the MCU at many conventions. When asked, Gunn said Safran won't be at the CCXP as well. Says, "Well, Mr. Safran appears. Seems you won't be able to make it." Says, "No, he sadly can't either." While both James Gunn and Peter Safran won't be attending the CCXP, that doesn't necessarily mean no DCU. Gunn can very well release a video message to hundreds of thousands of fans in attendance. However, will Gunn release the Superman trailer without any hoopla at CCXP? It sounds doubtful. And obviously we've got the December 5th. We went over the War of Roarham stuff, not seeing a way to see it. It would be very disappointing if it was going to be at like a CinemaCon or something like that. He says it's like basically, it's like for Matt over here, it says like basically the excuse of saying he's too busy but could make it to the New York Comic-Con for that one. At the end of the day, it does take a lot more travel to get to Brazil than it does to get to New York City, especially if you're in the United States, to be completely fair. I mean, from basically anywhere in the United States, you're what, maybe 3-4 hour flight with some layovers to New York City out there versus Brazil. I mean, mean, that's a much longer trek and would take a lot more time to get down there and to turn around and get back, even with private jets, which, if considering how broke Warner Brothers is, do you really think they're going to allow him to use a private jet for this kind of thing? Probably not, boys and girls. Super Bowl probably wouldn't be a fair assessment over there either, because it's very expensive to have a Super Bowl ad. We've always heard the stories time and time again over the years about how insane the amount of money that these Super Bowl ads actually are going to cost out there and all of that kind of stuff. So, of course, Warner Brothers is broke. We know that. That's why we got the entire reboot of the DC to begin with out there. That's why we don't have our dear sweet Henry Cavill. That's why we don't have a lot of the rest of these people coming back. That's why they had to do a full reboot with fresh faces that are much cheaper and all of that kind of stuff out there as well. But, of course, he talks about the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer, but that's one of them situations where it just couldn't be a very good job. And, of course, San Diego Comic-Con takes place after the release of Superman, so it doesn't look like it's going to end up being there as well. And, of course, it all comes out on July 25th. So this is where so obviously it looks like we're probably not going to get a Superman trailer at CCXP. Now, that being said, could they all just be going out there and blowing smoke up our butts just to make it an even bigger surprise at CCXP? Yes, that is a slight possibility. Although James Gunn generally hasn't had much of a tendency to lie about things when asked direct questions. If that were the case, he probably just would have stayed silent and not responded to the question at all. But we'll have to wait and see, boys and girls. So a lot of people have been talking about they hope a lot of people, just because of like their disdain for James Gunn and their issues with him for whatever reasons that they've got with him, they just want the Superman movie to fail. They want it all to flop because they just can't stand him. And you know what? If that's your personal opinion, that's fine. But my issues with James Gunn do not outweigh my DC fanboyish, my DC fandom, right? I want DC to be good. I want a good, proper Superman movie that shows us the Boy Scout that he truly is, gives us the hero that he truly is. I want Creature Commandos to be good. The trailer looks funny. I think it looks very entertaining. I think that's the perfect kind of spot to throw in the kind of jokes that James Gunn likes to do, and hopefully Superman takes a much more serious tone. But we'll end up seeing what happens with the trailer. But this is where things end up lying out right now, and this all makes sense. Anybody with half a brain in their head knows this makes sense based on the way Hollywood produces stuff and the way they put money behind projects and all of that kind of stuff. The performance or lack thereof, this is from Sil Abdul, which is a very reliable source with insiders at Warner Brothers, at the box office for Superman will not determine the fate of Gunn's DCU. You will get the first wave of content before anything is determined. Creature Commandos, which is coming out next month, Superman, Peacemaker Season 2, Supergirl, and Lanterns. These projects take to the end of James Gunn and Peter Safran's current contracts, fall of 2026. If Superman does well, expect an extension next year. And honestly, all that movie needs to do is probably make a profit, like a small profit, or even break even. Hopefully, James Gunn has done a really good job. Hopefully, the fans are super happy and the word of mouth gets around and this movie ends up making $1 billion. I would love to see that. But at the end of the day, it's all going to be up what they give us. And one of the other things that we've got on this as well, which we might end up doing a whole video over it, but I'm going to tell you about it right now just in case I decide not to do a whole video over it. The other thing about it is, according to James Gunn himself, when asked about it on his social media accounts out there, Season 1 of Peacemaker is not going to be canon to the overall DCU, right? Season 2 will be. And he says they're going to deal with that in Season 2 of Peacemaker, but Season 1 is not going to be considered canon to the new DCU. And that's directly from James Gunn's own social media accounts out there. So for a lot of people that were asking about that, a lot of people who had questions about that, that's what's going on with Peacemaker as well. So there's a lot of different things going on. It looks like we're probably not going to get in a trailer for Superman, at least not in the beginning of December. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But at the end of the day, we've got a lot of great stuff. Hopefully, potentially, a lot of good stuff coming. So that's generally kind of where we're at right now. This is where we're at with kind of our updates for the DCU and where things are currently sitting at. And that's just kind of what I wanted to do, is just kind of give you guys a general overall guide of where we're currently sitting right now without a lot of hoopla. I'm sad to hear that we probably won't end up getting a Superman trailer. I really wanted to see that because that's really going to tell us, that's going to give us some really good insight as to what kind of Superman movie we're looking into. It'll be the first insights. And according to James Gunn himself, he has personally worked on the trailer. So it's going to be his vision. It's going to be his version of Superman. It's not going to be farmed out to some trailer company out there that's going to end up making something that doesn't represent the movie properly, like what we've seen in the past with other stuff out there. So this could be a very interesting thing going forward. Obviously, we've got a lot of DC content that's going to be coming out over the next couple of years, whether you like it or not. And honestly, boys and girls, I'm hoping it's all par excellence. I'm hoping they do a really good job and we end up getting a lot of really good series, because I want DC to succeed. If they end up screwing this up, though, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, you will get a common nerd angry Jesse rant in no time flat, because it will be exactly what they deserve. So James Gunn, Peter Safran, David Zaslav, and everybody else over there involved with Warner Brothers and DCU, make the smart choice and make the fans happy.